Pankaj, thanks very much for that. Rohit Srivastava is joining us right now, fund manager with Sharekhan. Rohit, good morning. Good to have you here. The market has surged back higher. I think the fourth 200-point plus move on the Nifty since the second week of December in both directions. And we are back at close to about 8,300. What is likely from here in your assessment?
I think there is some more upside maybe in the very short term. It could be 8,400, it could be 8,450. But I'm not really seeing much beyond that. I do think the broad market, which did well even into the early January, you saw the BSE Mid-Cap Index go beyond the December high. It's possible that the broad market and the breadth remains positive for some more time, and many of those indices could actually outperform the Nifty or Sensex itself. But I'm still looking at this entire phase being more distributive rather than the start of something till we get more evidence. There isn't enough evidence of that. It remains a very narrow market. There are a lot of stocks that have been weak, especially big ones like Reliance and the metal stocks. At the same time, you're seeing some strength coming back to the pharma and FMCG stocks again. Which again are the defensive areas. So really the market doesn't seem to be picking up on the growth stocks yet, so you really come down to a very narrow list of stocks if you have to be on the long side, and the list on the sell side is probably much larger. But purely talking about the index, I think the upside may be right now limited to 50 to 100 points.
50 to 100 points, right? And I remember the last you were on the show and you're saying, well, a day worth of loss in momentum. I think it was the Monday of last week when you were on. A day of momentum being lost is going to signal downside. And we not only lost momentum, but I mean, the floor kind of disappeared for a while. And then, of course, the market was bought into very aggressively. But you're saying the same thing in a way is going to repeat itself, Rohit, right?
Yeah, that could have been the start of a bigger correction, but because we didn't go below the 8,050 mark, I think we are spending more time in this range. The distribution in individual stocks may not be complete, and that is why I said the broad market, where individual stocks are still moving, doing what they have to do, could be stronger than the key indices themselves, which don't appear to be so strong right now.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, what are the other big important sort of cues that you are watching closely for signaling in effect where we are headed? What are the other things?
Yeah, one of the things I think which has been key has been the commodity price sell-off, which has mostly been concentrated around oil. What I would like to see if more another round of that kind of pressure is to build up is to actually see selling develop in the base metals. For a long time we've seen copper prices come down, but they're not really falling sharply. So there's a key support at around the $2.75-$2.74 mark, which it's been hitting again and again and bouncing back. Now, if you see copper break that, I think you'll see selling intensify across the base metals, which is lead, zinc, nickel, and would probably have a direct impact on metal stocks, and also indicate that the commodity cycle is still not turning. Now, you have some very, very oversold conditions in the commodity indices or in oil, but you're still not seeing them pick up. So that itself is a structural sign, that something has turned awfully bad in that sector, because you usually see something move down in oversold or up in overbought only during a significant powerful trends like in a bull market or in a complete bear market. So I think that indication for commodities is there that they are not going to be out of the woods. They may be short-term bounces, but I think things have turned quite bad for at least oil. And we would be looking for whether it spreads strongly enough to other commodities, especially the base metals. So I think that would be a sign of more economic weakness than oil alone.
Yeah. The one big talking point has been this, all these big share sales which will happen. The government is going to do, right, over the next 3 months to mop up some more money to be able to get to its fiscal deficit number. And the larger debate, of course, is whether the government should spend and signal that in 2015, that is fiscal 16, it's going to spend more than in fiscal 15, or it should do more of the same. Cut expenditure and hope that the private sector will start spending because of better business environment, increased confidence, ease of doing business and things like that, Rohit. More and more people are now sort of saying, well, it could be the former, where the government is a more active spender, spends more, doesn't care too much about the fiscal deficit, etc. What's your view on this, Rohit?
On the one side, that is correct because I don't think there is any other option. It's been my view for long that private sector debt expanded and that was going to cause the slowdown, and it did. And we could clearly see that the government's debt ratios were coming down over several years because they've been pulling back on the fiscal side. Not just this year, but for several years we've spoken about managing the fiscal deficit. So the government's debt ratios versus GDP have really come down. So yes, they do have room to spend. The question is, will they? And I think the main issue there is essentially that you'll have to deal with inflation 6 months down the line if you spend aggressively. I mean, one thing is announcing schemes to spend, and then when you actually look at the overall balance sheet of the government and you say, okay, they've just reallocated money from one place to the other. I don't think that is what we are looking for. We are really looking for that they are able to spend beyond their means. And that might mean actually borrowing more from the market. The contradictory factor there would be that if you're going to borrow more from the market, where's the money going to come from? Is RBI going to be financing it? And if that's the case, then are you going to get higher interest rates? And at the same time you get talk about no, we need lower interest rates. So how does lower interest rates and more spending really work? And I think that's where the trick is. So to reach that point, you'll really need to be in a situation where you don't have to look at raising rates in the face of spending more money. And I think we are still not there. So I don't know how we're going to do what we all hope they should be doing. I really don't know how we'll go about doing that, except for maybe one method. And that one method is the same one that we've used in the last entire decade, that is get the financing from outside the country, somehow continue to attract money at lower yields, and be able to keep financing our books. So a lot of the bond flows like we've seen in the last year has come from outside. If we are hoping to keep the rupee strong and rates relatively at the higher end, if not raise them and raise money from outside, that might be the way that we think of funding this expenditure. That appears to be the only case, and so then we'll be subject to some global volatility from time to time. Moment there's any kind of bond market risk, you'll find financing dry up, and all these expenditure plans go for a toss.
Yeah. The opponents, of course, say that if you increase the overall level of the fiscal deficit, then you should not expect the RBI to cut rates. The RBI's response function is going to be stay pat because they're not going to be pleased with it. So it's a kind of a threat that it can't be done. It should not be done. I think it's a valid one.
Scenario.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it can't be done in the current scenario, which is what I was explaining, that you'd either need to borrow from the RBI or from the market at higher rates, or you'll need to get the funding from outside. And then you could probably keep rates stable, but they might not be able to come down too much because outside funding would only come in at higher at the